Hello? I haven't done a sit-down video in a while. No, I don't think I've done a sit-down video for a really long time. Please don't mind my hair. I don't know what's going on with it. Well, I need to do it. I'm going through all the books that I read this month. This is my April reading wrap-up. Everything I read this month you will get in this video. So if you're not interested in books, maybe not stick around. But if you are, here you go. Howdy, partner. This month I read a total of 9 books. 10 books on my TBR. I read 1 extra one and I DNF'd 1. So I read a total of 9. And I forgot to read 1. Well, I didn't forget. I'm like almost done. I'm about 60% through. The first book that I read in the month of April was Love Songs and Other Lies by Jessica Pennington. This was a 5-star read for Eileen, my older sister, and she really, really loved this. But the premise of this book is Virginia and Cam had a thing or whatever back in high school, and they both were super interested in music at that time. And they also had some similarities with the health of loved ones. What am I talking about? Literally, what am I talking about? I don't know. And Cam kind of falls first. He falls and he falls harder. You know what I mean? Like that vibe. And so they get together in high school, and then we learn about that. And then we're put in it's past and future, or past and present tense. And in the present tense, they're going on this, she's been invited to go on this tour, band tour thing. And she doesn't realize that Cam is a part of the band. So then they just kind of have to suck it up, and you learn why they kind of fell out and what happened, and then what they're learning in this present timeline. And sometimes I was just like, I don't like that, you know? I just wasn't really appreciative of some parts of it. And also there's a huge misunderstanding of the whole thing, and I feel like it was on one of the characters' behalf. If one of the characters would have just opened their mouth and started talking, there wouldn't have been an issue to begin with. I listened to the last and final Lord of the Rings book, The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. This book I rated at 3 stars as well. Genuinely, with these books, I feel like I don't retain a lot of the information in them because it's just a little over my head. These are classics. I think they're classics. I feel like I just kind of say any old book is a classic, but that's not true. I don't think that's true. Again, here's the thing. We don't know what defines a classic or not. No, I rated this book a 3 stars. I definitely liked it better than, I think it was the second one that I didn't really like that much. These are just fun fantasy books. I mean, they're high fantasy, so if you want to get down and dirty in the fantasy realm, here you go, read this and tell me what is happening, because I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I know that rings are involved. I know that they're magical. I know that there's a lot of quests. There's hobbits too, and different mythical creatures, and that's the extent of my knowledge. I think there was a talking tree in this one. Don't ask me. Don't ask me anymore, because I don't know. I don't know. I was just here for the vibes. I was just here to enjoy it. So I took this as more of a cozy fantasy, even though low-key battles every 20 seconds. So the third book that I read, I'm gonna lean so that I can put it up, was The Voyage of the Great Titanic, which I rated a 2-star. This, if you've watched any of my videos, I've been trying to get through the Dear America series, and I'm almost done. As of right now, I have 2 of the books left that I need to finish. And I rated this one a 2-star. I listened to it on audiobook, which I did enjoy. I feel like I did retain the knowledge better. But ultimately, in the end, I didn't find it very memorable, and I didn't really enjoy the perspective as much. And I definitely feel in these books, the end epilogue, which is a page long, tells you the future of the character in the book. And it's kind of that was so unnecessary. you know? Like, you don't have to do that. Like, the ending would be like, I made it out of the tower or whatever, and kind of give her perspective on it. And then, like, the epilogue would be like, Mary grew up and died from being shot in the head while surfboarding. And then, like, that's it. And I'm like, that had nothing to do with the actual story. And then, like, you just demolished every hope I had for this child. No. Next, fourth book is Things We Hide from the Light. This book is part of the Knockamout series. You're basically in the town of Knockamout, and that's the first book, the blue one. Things We Never Got Over. I think I rated that a 3-star. This was a 2-star. We follow the brother of the main character, or like main male character in that one. Alina is the main character's, like the boy main character's like bestie girl. And I think they dated. Just kind of follow them around in their different things. This I rated a 2-star because when I tell you that I was getting the ick for Nash, I was not having it. He was starting to become like very possessive, and also I know a lot of people say these books are spicy, but when I kid you not, I feel like, I mean, I would say they're pretty spicy, but there's like 2 like large sections in there that I just like probably tore out like 20 pages. So it's not like it's spread really throughout. This one was definitely spread more throughout, where that one, there was nothing in that book, no spice in that book until 400 pages in. And this one was not like that. I'm not a spice reader. I don't like reading spice. I'll read books, I'll just either rip the pages out, like X out the areas I don't want to read or whatever, so I'm a little editor there. I didn't appreciate this one as much, and I didn't like what was going on. He was very different from the last book, and the big thing that like ended in the back of the book or whatever was like copy paste of the last one, and I was like, I feel like I'm reading the exact same story, like why is this happening? And so that was not my favorite. Then I read The Land of Stories Beyond the Kingdom, Beyond the Kingdoms by Chris Colfer. This is a reread for me. I read this series when I was in middle school, elementary schools when I started it. I straight up have the first book from when I was like in 3rd grade, and I will never forget it. This series will always be a 5-star series for me, no matter how old I get. I do realize that it is definitely younger writing, and I am sad because I feel like I felt so much magic when reading them when I was a kid. But I feel like maybe I'm not really a reread girly. I don't know what. But I rated this a 4 stars, even though I knew the plot and it was kind of I was bored knowing the plot. So again, I think that's just me rereading it. I would recommend this series to anybody, especially in like a younger age range of like middle school. Read it. It's great. This series is great. So this was the 4th book in the series. So I'm not really going to go into this one that much because they literally just follow like back to back to back. There's 6 books in the series, and then there's a like trilogy off of it. Next is another Dear America book called The Great Railroad Race. I gave this one a 3-star. I read 3 Dear America books this month. I do recall pretty much everything that happened in that book, and I do think that it was like decent. It was an interesting story. I liked it obviously better than the Titanic book, and I don't know. I feel like also the thing about the Dear America series is all of them are written by different authors. So you get a different kind of writing style. They're all writing in a similar format, but the like verbiage and the dialogue and anything that happens is all for that author. So I did like this author's writing a lot more. Genuinely, not a lot happened on this one. It wasn't really eventful. They were on a train racing across America, and we were, that's what happened. That's about it. Next, we have my highest rated book of the month. We have Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. When I tell you, I love Abby Jimenez's writing. I read Part of Your World, which is the first book in this like interconnected standalone. Like, you don't have to read that one to know what's happening in this one, but I underlined, annotated everything, and this book would have been a 5-star. I rated it a 4.75. It would have been a 5-star, but the ending I didn't like very much. We had like a third act conflict. Well, no, we had like a halfway, no. What's a halfway? We had like a 2.5 conflict, and then that got resolved, and then we had a third act conflict, and then that was resolved, and then we went to another conflict, and that was resolved, and then another one, and another one, and another one, like all in the span of like whatever. So I was like, when are we gonna resolve this? She doesn't have very spicy books. There was maybe like a scene or two, and there's some spots where I X'd out just because sometimes I think people use like very crude language when talking about things, especially like, I'm not interested, okay? But this book was still legendary. I loved it. It was so sweet, and the letters, like they send letters back and forth. If you don't know, this is about Brianna and Jacob, and they're both doctors or nurses or anything, and Jacob transfers from one. Both of them are dealing kind of with breakups and divorces or being left or whatever. There's some fake dating in here. He has like severe social anxiety, and when Brianna and him first encounter a reaction, it's not good, and she like hates him. But then she finds out, he starts like sending her apology letters and stuff, and finds out that, man, he like is really dealing with social anxiety. And I love their dynamic. Like, she knows how to not deal with him, but walk him through and meet him where he's at in his life, and he knows how to be there for her as well. And it's just lovely. Like, this is a lovely book, so definitely recommend reading this. For number 8, I read So Far From Home, The Diary of Mary Driscoll, an Irish Mill Girl. This book was the best book I read out of the Dear America series. Is it because her name's Mary? I don't know. Is it because she's Irish? I don't know. I'm Mary. I'm Irish. This was so cool. I didn't know. I rated this 3.75 stars, and I think about it actually pretty much a lot. I didn't realize a lot on the topic of like the Irish potato famine, when all of the people from Ireland were kind of moving over to America because there's a lot of disease and outbreak and all of this stuff going on in Ireland. And I feel like I never have heard that talked about other than being like, oh yeah, the potato famine, the Irish potato famine. That's it. But this book like really touched on topics of, you know, racism in that, and like anyone immigrating over, like just the racism in that, how they were used really to do this work that was dangerous. And I know this happened a lot throughout history with different people coming to America and or vice versa. And it was honestly really sad to hear about, but it was, I feel like it definitely was necessary. Like, I'm really glad that I read about it and learned about it and kind of brought into my mind to what happened to these just young children. I mean, this girl ends up, okay, they all like die in the end. That's not a spoiler. Even if they don't tell you how they die, they're like, yeah, she passed away in 1980 whatever, or whatever, I don't know. I mean, she died at 17 years old. That's wild to me. That is wild. The 9th book that I read was The Old Man and the Sea. I read So Far From Home, The Old Man and the Sea, and then I'm reading Brothers Hawthorne right now. And I was supposed to get all of those done, and then I DNF'd Sparrow Road. But this was my last book of the month. I gave this book a 2.5 star, not because I didn't like it. This story, when I tell you, is straight up just a snapshot of this man's life and basic kind of hero's journey book. I mean, it was probably like back in the day, like one of its only kind and unique in that. I appreciated the simplistic dialogue and writing, which made it super easy to read. I just don't think, I mean, it just didn't hit me in any way, like my heart or anything like that. So glad I read it. So that was all the books I read in April. I'm really glad you guys sat with me and watched this video. It was really fun to talk about what I read for the month of April. I'll show you guys what I'm reading in the month of May. Do I think I'm gonna do another DBR video? We shall see. I'm gonna go work out now because it's been way too long. Bye.